under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Here.
Counselor Angeloni?
Here.
Counselor Caprio?
Here.
Counselor Diamond?
Here.
Counselor Esposito?
Here.
Counselor Fawnin?
Think.
Counselor Fucy?
Here.
Counselor Rose?
Here.
I'm going to ask everyone for a moment of silence for Mr. Jack Zepper, who recently passed away, for his family. He gave many years to our town, and I just would like a moment of silence. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the March 15th, 2014?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Wentworth, seconded by Councilor Angeloni. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
May I have a motion to approve the March 18th, 2014 Town Council meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Wentworth, seconded by Councilor Fucy. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Abstain.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
May I have a motion to approve the April 1st, 2014 budget work public hearing?
Well,
And March 22nd, 2014.
you can only do one.
Do March 22nd, so moved.
The March 22nd, 2014 budget workshop. Moved by Deputy Mayor Wentworth.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilor Fucy. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Abstain.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Abstain.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Now a motion to approve
Michael,
the
take care.
April 1st, 2014 budget.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Wentworth, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Abstain.
May I have a motion to approve the April 2nd, 2014 budget deliberations?
So moved with one correction on item 2A under revenues. It should read that they pay 75% of personal property, not 25%.
Moved by Councilor Angeloni, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Abstain.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Abstain.
What kind of pencils am I getting here?
Just before we get started, I was hoping to see the superintendent or someone from the Board of Ed here, and this will involve the town manager a little bit. But in my travels going up to the community center, I've noticed that our seniors are having to park far away and walk to get to our senior center. And I'm sure all of us have grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, and I wouldn't want my grandmother walking from TBES over to Stanley T. Williams Community Center to use the facility. And I know at most businesses, they have the employees park in a designated area to make it easier for the patrons to enter the building. So I think with a little cooperation, I think we could accommodate this. I don't think it's that difficult to have the paid personnel maybe park over to the side and allow the seniors to park in front, rather than like on a day like today, walk in the rain perhaps, or not go at all because they know they can't park. So I think everyone would agree. I think that would be a great thing to do, and I think it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I think, I can't respond for the Board of Ed side, but I will talk to the superintendent. My understanding from our personnel side on the rec side, that Pam has issued, to make sure that they park in
Right.
terms of personnel
I don't think,
outside.
yeah, I mean, and they might be doing it not even knowing that they're doing it, but maybe, the Board of Ed secretary, the personnel there can park over to the side And that way, you know, the seniors could have the prime parking. I think that would be a nice gesture. So maybe, you know, you could talk with Scott and maybe we could work that out. Okay. Okay, reports of committees, boards, and commissions. Item A, Permanent Project Building Committee.
Permanent project met last night, and as far as the STW Community Center goes, we're moving ahead with an electrical or a lighting engineer company to lay out all of the parking lot and everything, and then also to get it staked out, and hopefully, Franny, do you have an estimation of when that might get?
As soon as they decide the light fixtures are gonna use the bolt pattern, and I can have the foundation built, so after I get the bolt pattern, it's probably gonna take a couple few weeks to get the foundation.
Okay, and then as far as paving, do you have any idea of when that parking lot, that whole project might?
I haven't scheduled yet because of the lights.
Okay.
I can't do any paving until the conduit and all the foundations are in place.
Okay,
We're gonna start roughing it in. It's roughed in now, but we have the rest of it to rough in. We're gonna start that in the next week or so.
okay,
We're doing some repairs now. As soon as the lights are, you know, we know what we were betting, then we order the foundations. It's up, you know, United makes them all up, the right bolt pattern, and we put them in, put the conduit in.
okay,
So it's not, once that's done, it's not really a big deal.
okay, great.
So if I get them, then I'll book them.
Okay. And then the other issue that came up is on the high school roof project. The bids were opened. There's a copy of the companies that bid it at our desk. The low bid, it turns out, there's a letter at our desk that they actually withdrew their bid now because they submitted additional cost that they did not include in their bid, and they, we had no idea. It was probably gonna go over what the second lowest bid was. But the issue that came up is it the bid bond that they have to post, which is 10% of the bid? Is there's the question as to whether we want to go after, if the town wants to go after any of that portion, the difference between the number 1 bid and the number 2 bid. Because there was some thinking that we might be eligible for some of those costs. And the Permanent Project Building Committee was looking to hire Jeff D'Onofrio, who has been their construction attorney, to see if it was worth, if they were going to do that, if they would hire him. But they don't have the authority to hire an attorney, only the council has the authority. So that's why it is being brought forward to the council tonight, as far as if we think they should even pursue anything from this bid bond, which would be approximately $75,000, or because nothing happened with the bid yet and there's nothing happened to the town didn't lose any money, and the company has withdrawn their bid. It was a feeling of some of the permanent project members that we don't go after it because there was no harm done to the town. But that they wanted it brought forward to the council if they decided to go ahead to hire an attorney, if they could hire an attorney, and what our feeling was as far as going after the bid bond. And I guess I'm gonna turn to John and see if he has an opinion as to what should happen on that.
Well, I'd like to see the documents. I mean, your comment about some members felt that it wasn't appropriate to go after, I can understand that. And that may be the final version that we arrive at, but we're running a business here. This is a corporation, the town, and we have an obligation to preserve our assets and to enforce the terms of the bidding process. But I'd like to look, I'm not, as you know, involved in with that committee. This is a collection matter. It doesn't, you know, if the council decides to to pursue it, it would be strictly a collection matter based on a contract in effect and have very little to do with the actual construction aspect. In other words, they withdrew their bid.
Correct.
We're not going after them for a default on their performance or anything like that. So I'll be happy to take a look at it and report back to the council.
Okay.
Is there a
so,
time constraint here?
I'm
No.
not sure of.
Well, there is in terms of the overall project, but I think it'll go in a parallel process where we'll continue to work with Tom Hibbert and get the review for the second bidder, and this is just another subject matter that can run a parallel course.
Yeah, I'd want to look at the,
Okay, that's fine.
you know, there may be circumstances, there may be equitable considerations as to why the bid was withdrawn. If it was withdrawn in a very timely fashion as opposed to, as you say, before the town acted in reliance on it, let's say. But I presume this is contained in those documents, as well as in our bid ordinance. And I'll be happy to look at that and get back through the town manager.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you, Rose. Item B, Economic Development Commission.
Yeah, there's a memo in your packet based on the meeting that the Economic Development Commission had, and it essentially invites the council to meet with the Economic Development Commission along with P&Z as an opportunity to discuss the matter and update you and get your input. And hopefully Monday, May 12th works for you, which was, placed in the memo. I think it would be a great idea at this juncture to bring the three bodies together to, lay out what we have so far and have Dr. Plattis go through that.
That's a building committee time. That's the second Monday of
Yeah.
May. So that's building committee.
Yeah, and I think maybe we could just juggle the time, potentially, if we're here for that, and maybe make this earlier or later to piggyback on that,
Okay.
potentially.
And then a suggestion for economic development. The town, on our website, we should put something marketing parcels that are available in our town. When people look at towns and go on their websites, it would be really nice if we had a website showing some of the lots that are available. I mean, I know we can't do every home, but some of the commercial properties maybe that are available in our town. I've seen it on other town websites. I think it would be a great marketing tool.
Okay.
Item C, BOE Town Council Communications Subcommittee, that was canceled.
Yeah, the Board of
Yes.
Ed canceled that.
Right, we had the budget, and we decided the Board of Ed said we would cancel. Item 4, Town Manager's Report. Item A, bid results, partial roof replacement, North Branford High School.
Yeah, Rose pretty much covered that.
Yeah.
You have the information before you. Basically, the Allied is out, and we're proceeding with Imperial, and
Yep.
we'll report back.
Item B, memo RWA fire hydrants. I read this and, I see, kind of what we're paying for fire hydrants. I kind of wanted to tap into the chief if I could on the fire hydrant maintenance. Chief, do you have, if you don't mind? I mean,
Sure.
Currently in our overall budget, as you know, what we're paying for,
We went from 197 to 217 and change.
right. I know we need it, it's something we have to have. Are we getting our bang for our buck? Are all the hydrants done? Is there anything else that we need, that we can ask for, what's included in this, or?
Personally, I would like to see, and it actually demonstrated itself when ISO came in and did their review a couple months ago, and that is, on an annual basis, we don't see the fire hydrants flow tested more than what is come about when ISO came in. So on an annual basis, there's no regularly scheduled hydrant flow test in various locations throughout the town. Only that which was requested by the ISO representative a couple months ago. So,
Do they ask, are you ever asked to go with them or shown?
there's actually only been one flow test that I witnessed, and that was a flow test I requested in front of 999 Boxon Road, in front of the complex a couple months ago. But on an annual basis, I'm not contacted by the RWA to participate or witness or even conduct any test flows.
So again, this is something like I kind of look at as the animal shelter. Do we know all of our hydrants are being tested? I'm not saying that they're not, but we have no really way of keeping track of what's being done, what's being not done.
We get I have a database that's provided by RWA. It provides the hydrant location, the make and model of the hydrant, the main that services that, and its approximate location, not with latitude and longitude, but with footage description from an intersecting street or other designated location. I've received numerous inquiries from the public, and I see one on the agenda tonight. I've received numerous messages from that individual by electronically or telephone over the years. We followed that up a number of times, and with our contacts in RWA, they basically told us that the painting of fire hydrants is not in their budget any longer. It was years ago, it's not now. And I have to agree with the citizen's statement that some of the hydrants are almost camouflaged with some of the surroundings because they're in tough shape.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I know during some of the storms, we couldn't find hydrants. And some of the property owners were dealing with their own homes and whatnot, couldn't get out there to clean out. I hope Franny is able to know where they are. God forbid somebody else we hired to plow. I know there was a year we lost 1 or 2 hydrants, and that's when, I'm not sure if it was an Eagle Scout or the RWA put flags on, I forget how many of them, but, for this money we're paying, I don't understand how paint is not that expensive. I think this is something we should, get done.
Chief, was that an increase in 1 year in the budget, that $80,000?
It went from 197 to 217. That was 1 year increase. That's in this budget year.
That's 20,000.
And there's no reason given?
I've never received any information from RWA on that.
Well, how about you, Michael? Have you talked to them at all about the situation?
Well, with respect to the painting schedule, that's the response in the memo from Mr. Bingaman, that they're going to finish up painting this season.
Well, that's fine and dandy, but
nothing beyond that with respect to reports.
right, I mean.
Yeah, it's the first
so
time
what-
I've heard about
What does that
flow.
200 and, what is it, 70,000 you said?
217.
From 197 to
217.
217.
Okay, what does that?
Well, it's the piping and distribution. It's not just the hydrants are just what you see above,
Right,
but
but that piping was there for a long time.
There's been no increase in fire hydrant
Right.
by number in our town.
So, I mean, that stuff's been under the ground for 20 years, a lot of it. So what exactly are they doing to it for $217,000? I mean, we should be able to ask them that,
sure.
I mean, it doesn't sound reasonable that they're doing this.
As the fire chief, it's not in my budget. However, I guess a prudent person would ask, why such an increase when nothing has changed?
Right, exactly. That's what I'm trying to get at here.
Well, according to this memo, it says the president, Mr. Bingaman from RWA, said that they did a cost of service study a number of years ago to determine the cost, and that's what they base it on. So where is that cost of service? And if they did it a number of years ago, why is there a $20,000 increase this year in it?
That's a legitimate question.
Right.
I mean, if it's no different than the animal shelter where we've asked for documentation. We're paying a third of the cost. We want to know what the costs are that we're
Right.
paying for. So the same would go for the fire hydrants.
Absolutely.
And I think they need to work hand in hand with our fire chief and our public works director, I think.
Since our reservoir here services 16 towns, I mean, we have a lot invested in this whole deal, and why are they doing this to us? That's a good question to ask now.
Sure.
I guess I would finish up by saying, I wonder if the same percentage increase has been shared amongst all the towns
Right,
this budget year.
right.
We have a representative on the policy board that maybe we can find out
And Chief,
something
would
from
they be able to
Jack
add
Pasco.
any hydrants, you know, along the way, as far as distances and whatnot, where these hydrants are?
Just gotta pay for the pipe. Pipe and a hydrant. The hydrant itself is, don't quote me, but it's close to $6,000 for the hydrant itself.
But then you gotta get it.
Doesn't
from where
include the
pipe
lateral
is to
or the
where you
mains,
want it.
that's
Yeah,
right.
but, wait a minute.
Well, in our budget book, it had for a possible adding some
Subdivision.
hydrant.
Subdivision.
A new subdivision.
But they weren't it was like
Right.
$150.
See, that's why I was saying that, because, you know, I have experience, I put one in and it
for
cost
a-
me like
for a hydrant.
$10,000. It's not cheap.
In our budget book, that's.
Right, that's why I was surprised, Rose, because it cost like $10,000.
Is it a wet hydrant or a dry hydrant?
Well, it doesn't say in our
Doesn't say.
budget book if it's wet or dry.
But they have an estimate in here.
It's for a new subdivision, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that what it is?
right.
Is it in a current hydrant in the area?
No, let me see once here. All our budget book says is potential addition of 5 new hydrants in subdivisions. 200, that is $297.
Huh.
2 units at $148.28.
Where's the subdivision?
It doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
Potential.
It's just a potential.
That's just an additional rental cost, that's not the installation cost.
Oh.
That's our rental
Okay.
cost, they're $148.28 per hydrant. So if there are 2 more that happen to go in anywhere, that's what that money would come from.
Oh, so that's just the rental cost, it's not the installation
Oh,
cost.
yeah, I was gonna say, because I know
Okay.
it costs.
Just an FYI, they've been doing it for years, not that it makes up $20,000, but they don't charge us for our public works for permits or water. Water really counts. We've always got free water. We have certain hydrants that we use all the time.
Mike, did you say that they weren't gonna paint anymore?
No, they are.
Oh, they are, okay.
But again, I think there needs to be more communication with our fire chief and public works director, and ask these questions about, you know, the fire hydrants and the increase, and if other towns were increased the same. I think those are valid questions.
Sure.
Thank you, Chief.
I'll add a little to that, because I usually am trying to talk to the board authority to get some predicted increases in rates. Basically, I think we talked to them, put the budget together, that was a projected increase. We try to project it every year. And that's what the contact person at the RWA said, they're predicting their rates are going up overall. One thing they've been faced with, and I think it's a cash flow thing with them, water consumption's down, and they have a certain operating cost, so the impact has been, their rates have gone up, and they have gone up relatively recently. We can follow up with the detail, but that's how the number gets in there. It's based upon a prediction that their board will be setting in the future year when they do the cost of service factor. When it's in there right now, it's not a hard and fast number until they actually adopt it, but that's what we project and put in there.
Thank you, Kurt.
And Mayor, I've just got 2 other items under the report quickly, and defer to Fran about just an announcement and an update that UI is coming in to do the trimming of trees. So Fran and I have been working, more so Fran, in terms of the schedule that will probably be happening this week, that you will see people in neighborhoods or tagging or doing whatever they need to do. But I don't know if Fran has anything, it should come to the council's knowledge and understand, should you get calls from residents. And I've also let the chief know, and should people see them in their neighborhood and call, that yes, this is a part of a planned program. And so, you know, Fran's spending some time, they're gonna be working with those crews. But correct, they're gonna be starting this
Yeah,
week
they're
potentially?
They're starting this week, they're doing all the 3-phase wires, they're gonna be doing 3 circuits in town. They're gonna start this week, so there's this small part of Beach Street and Sea Hill, they're doing Route 80. They're doing, the Route 80 area, the Twin Lakes Road area, and a little bit up Forest Road, Wood Chase, Shaw Road, Quarry Road. I have a list here, but they're starting over there on 1432, which is Sea Hill, Lower Beach Street, up to 3 something Sea Hill. Remember the number 360? 360 Sea Hill, and they're doing in 2 phases. This is only 3 phases they're working on. So they're going to all the residents, they're gonna be pruning trees and taking trees out. It's a notification thing first, so no cutting will start for at least a month. Until all the notifications in that area are done and all the issues get solved. So if you're single phase, like upper Beach Street stuff, they're not going up there unless I request it, that there's a hazard. And then they're gonna be coming back and do other stuff. So we went from 2017 to 2014 trimless. We do a lot on the media, and so all the way down to everything in the woods.
Right. Thank you, Fran.
And the other was a letter that you have in front of you that I placed at your spots from the Friends of the Library. As you know, they have the annual book sale. They've been using the center school old facility in back. Their request this year, subject to the council's approval, is if it's okay for them to move to either the old senior center or the community center in front, just as a not so hazardous place where they were. There's some issues in that back building, obviously. And I think they could be accommodated quite easily in using either one. But they begin in April, and they collect the books, and then they have the sale in June. And typically, again, they've used that back building, and that is in pretty rough shape at this point. I would like to avoid any kind of liability or anything
Right.
like that. I think it makes sense to potentially move to the other two.
So are they looking just to store them until they have their sale? Is that,
Well, both.
or do they collect them there?
No, they will collect and store and sort, and I know Bob is here if he wants to clarify, but my understanding was store and sort, and then they transfer them all to Jerome Harris on the day or before the book's sale. But long-term planning, they'd like to know if they could, use, I believe is in the letter requested, that they could use the old senior center as a means to store books year-round or collect books year-round. For the annual sale. And that's something you don't necessarily need to get into right now tonight, but other than to say temporarily on a one-year basis, so, this year, say, yeah, go ahead and use whichever building you prefer.
I think it'd be,
Senior center seems to say asked for it.
I think it'd be a
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the senior center, since it's not a drop-off point, because that parking is tight, it's basically for them to bring books, store, sort,
Right.
and then, so it's just basically their committee and their volunteers to do it. So I would prefer the senior building to do it.
So
I
we
know
do
we
whatever
used it
we're
for
gonna
some
do
other
with it.
things, and it worked out well. It's a very open room, and
Right.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the way I understand it. Bob can confirm that they have other collection points at the libraries, that they bring them there, sort them, gather them there and sort, and then prepare and bring it all to Jerome.
I can't wait. My
I did
wife's.
recommend that they continue to use the libraries as the place where people would bring the books.
Yeah.
We're there, we're open, it's easy to do it that way. Then they
Mr. Hull, could you come up to the microphone? That way it can catch on TV.
Yeah, I had recommended to the Friends that they continue to collect them at the libraries as they do, and then bring them to a storage point, whichever one you folks approve for that.
What are
And-
the hours at the libraries that you can bring the books?
Well, they try to do it mainly on Saturdays, and we're
Okay.
open from 9 to 3 on Saturdays. So we like to collect them on Saturdays, that way we get them all at once, and they can come and get them after that, usually on a Monday. Rather than collect them all week long, and then we have books coming in and out all the time, and people are trying to have meetings, and there's piles of books there.
Right.
So that's what we like to do.
Lucky you. My
Yeah.
wife's got a whole pickup truck load of books for you.
Okay, we're collecting them right now.
All right.
And then in the long term, as Mike intimated there, if they could use the senior center, they might then take a portion of that, a room in that building or whatever, and open it a couple times a week, and actually probably make a good deal more money that way,
Sure.
having it open much more frequently than just one annual big book sale. So but that's down the road, you know.
Right.
For now, they just would like to have a safe place to store
Sure.
them. Yeah. And they collect a lot, so it's not possible to use the libraries as the storage place. They would be full. The community room would be full of books. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is that it? Community events and presentations. Citizen statements, petitions, and correspondence. Item A, CMed.
Do we need a motion to allow this, if we wanted to have this credit go to the South Central CMed like we did last year? Do we need a motion to do that, or does it automatically do that?
I think it goes out, I don't know, I don't recall if you had a motion last year or not. Yeah, probably wouldn't hurt.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to have the regional telecommunications service credit for CMed services go to the South Central CMed as the recipient of it. We did this last year. It's based on the population. The credit was approximately a little over $4,000, and that's roughly what it would be for this year also. So I would like to make a motion to have it go to the same place
Want to put the
again.
amount in the budget and in the motion? $4,313.70.
Sure, I can, but what if the credit ends up to be a little bit different than that? I mean, it's,
That's why they have it now, what it is.
okay, we'll go with the credit estimation is for $4,313.70.
Second?
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Item B, Jim Dwyer, fire hydrants. Attention Town Council members. This topic is fire hydrants. Have you ever driven around North Branford and asked yourself the following question? If there were a fire here, would this fire hydrant work or not? As I drive around town, I happen to see several fire hydrants poorly painted, rusty, oily colored. It makes me think, are these fire hydrants maintained in this town? Take, for example, the ones on Clintonville Road, Route 22 in Northford. In this town, I believe the Regional Water Company is our largest taxpayer and supplies several cities and towns throughout the New Haven County with water from Lake Gaylord. There are over 200 fire hydrants in our North Branford, and we have the ugliest looking ones. Can the town council look into this public safety item for our town and ask the Regional Water Company to improve this property value here in North Branford? Let's not be foolish. Let's look into the public safety of North Branford and Northford and make sure that all our fire hydrants are operating properly. Yours truly, Jim Dwyer. Please note the nearest fire hydrant to me is located 1.5 miles away on Twin Lakes Road.
I think we covered that already.
Item C, Central Regional Tourism District.
Yeah, just as a FYI.
Well, they're looking for a
We're looking for a rep.
representative, right? So we
I don't know if you want to handle that when you do other appointments or,
can think about this and do this
Yeah,
at
I mean,
another.
and Mike, doesn't this
Absolutely.
fall under Rex a little bit too? Rex?
oh, Rex?
The regional accelerated. I mean, I would think this, from Scrog, this would kind of go hand in hand with that, I would think.
Yeah.
So,
This comes from the River Valley.
so,
This comes from the River Valley, it's up in Hartford.
North Branford Little League Opening Day Ceremony. North Branford Little League will be holding its opening day ceremony on Saturday, April 26th, at 9 a.m. at Wall Field at Swycheck Park. It looks like Derek Jeter will be here this year. No. As you may know, our program was incorporated in 1955 and serves more than 450 children in the community. We try to honor the sports and baseball and softball by instilling the sound fundamentals of the game to every player we have. Our dedicated coaches, managers give tirelessly in themselves in the spirit of giving back, and for some, also paying it forward. We have many fun events for the children and parents to participate in at the field, and we celebrate the start of the 2014 baseball, softball seasons. Being a notable representative of the community, the League's Board of Directors would be honored to have you attend to the special event to celebrate with our town's parents and children, and they're inviting the council and everyone in town for the opening day festivities. Item 7, resignation and appointments, having none. Item 8, unfinished business, discussion and action. Item A, is this still tabled?
Still table, yeah, ongoing.
Item B, audit report on school grants by Michelle Loso, Seward and Mondy. Did I get it right this time?
You did.
Loso.
Thank you.
Good evening.
And you have, I passed out, Michelle had provided the one-page breakdown, so you should have this on a one-pager.
Yeah.
So as you can see, there is still, the bottom line, there's some unknown dollars. Between Don and Kim, they are spending some time trying to go back, finding what records they do have. At this point, it looks like it might be in excess of 10 years old, trying to find bank statements, general ledgers, trial balances. The good news for you, there is about almost $65,000 that will be returned to the town. 30 of that is for a school security grant that ran through a capital project on this side. And then the other big amount, also almost $30,000, was an OPM school heating assistance grant that should have been charged as a credit to the Board of Ed grant, Board of Ed budget in that year, which did not get back in there. So those funds will come back from the grant fund to the town. So that's about $65,000. The $1,700, that's being discussed with the state. Usually what happens if there's unexpended funds in any year on one of the grants, once the ED 141s are filed, the state will send a letter requesting that money back. They believe they probably either didn't get the letter, with state bureaucracy, it never happened. So they're trying to find out with the State Department of Education the disposition of that $1,700. There's about 3 different grants there that they're discussing. So they are working on it. I did offer my services. At this point, we're going to keep me out of it, obviously, to avoid any additional fees. I did say if they want me to, they find some things, they want me to come in for an hour, I would do that free of charge to help them with that. Because obviously, I think we all want to get it resolved.
Thank you.
You want to just go into the second one?
Direct department?
Well, I just have a question on,
I just have one quick question for her. And does this include any ineligible costs on projects?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. So, do we have any, do you know any more, because I know we had some out there, ineligible.
I mean, there could be. I mean, I only did the audit for
Yeah.
1 year. So none of
Yeah,
the
these go back
issues,
further.
any of these could be way back when, and there could be. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't say yes or no at this point.
Okay, thank you.
so Anthony, this $65,000 that's coming back to the town, what happens to that money? Where does it go?
Should have been charged originally.
Well, I believe the school security grant is actually still is it an open capital project?
It'll get back to a capital project fund where that project was charged to originally. And at the end, when all the projects are closed out, it'll come before you guys to close the money out and reassign to a future capital project.
Okay, so this school security, the 30,000, could we put that into our CIP budget that we're working on, where there is a line item that says district, security.
What's the timeframe?
Well, we could talk to Don. I don't know, you'd have to, I think now that we've presented and they're comfortable, he's comfortable with those the 3 projects there that have to come back to the town, so I would assume at any point.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. We can apply it towards the security grant for the security item for next year's project.
Okay.
Okay. Where are we? Let's make a space. Final
Okay.
report.
Thanks.
Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And then the other item that you have in front of you, I believe, is the agreed-upon procedures report with the Park and Rec Senior Center Department in reviewing their policies and procedures and internal controls. Basically, there was a in-depth review. We did basically a cursory review of all the departments during our audit, basically not finding any glaring issues regarding their policies and procedures. Both Pam and Mike wanted to look at that in a clear way due to the move, consolidating the departments. So they approached me regarding doing that. I met with Pam on several occasions to go over their policies and procedures. Again, nothing glaring in this report. I think just some tightening of some procedures, formalizing them in written form. Obviously, we talked about access to gift certificates being printed. That's already changed. Potentially safes and cameras. But I think that's something that has to be addressed on a capital needs basis, obviously, whether you feel that's necessary. And just really just tightening of the, written procedures so that everybody's on the same page.
Written receipts with triple copies and all that, we're bringing in cash, and right?
Yes, obviously. Now that the front desk is somewhat removed from the office, and there's a lot more traffic there without as much oversight. We also talked about, setting a policy regarding, if a lot of cash is received, taking that back to the office at more points during the day. Obviously, bringing their receipts to town hall to get deposited on a more timely basis, on a more regular basis. So it isn't sitting in the director's office, even though there's 2 locked doors and a locked filing cabinet. There's still access. There's still people in and out. So I think getting that money into the bank on a more timely basis is obviously something that everybody's aware
Right.
that needs to be
There
done.
needs more accountability and just policy procedures.
So again, nothing glaring, just really a tightening of controls.
Right. As any business should do.
Correct.
And we're already working on it.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
Okay. Okay, new business, discussion and action.
Can we skip down to do some
That's what I was thinking. Gotta
quick
find-
things?
Where is it?
I'm going to start with item J, the proclamation.
9F. G, H.
9F, the
Grant,
grant.
Homeland Security.
9F. Authorize a resolution, town of Branford.
Yeah.
All right, item F, the Homeland Security Grant Application Resolution.
So Lisa, was this already submitted? Because it says due date April 4th, 2014, or?
No, it has not been submitted, and we've got an extension in terms of, because we didn't meet on the 1st as planned to handle, this would have been handled on the 1st, so we got an extension to handle it tonight.
Oh, okay.
So we can do that. Lisa has to certify it, but it's not something that runs, as a program that runs through her.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, I would like to make a motion to pass the resolution as presented.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
All right, item 9J. 9J, proclamation for Day of Prayer. By His Excellency Daniel P. Malloy, Governor, an official statement. Whereas this year's annual observance of the National Day of Prayer will be held on May 1st, 2014, and whereas a joint resolution of the United States Congress in 1952 established an annual day for prayer, which was signed into law by President Harry S. Truman, and whereas the declaration was amended in 1988 by House of Congress and signed by President Ronald Reagan, setting the permanent date for the National Day of Prayer on the first Thursday of May each year. And whereas on this day we reflect upon the freedom and prosperity enjoyed by both the state of Connecticut and our nation. And therefore I, Daniel P. Malloy, Governor of the state of Connecticut, do hereby officially proclaim May 1st, 2014 as the National Day of Prayer in the state of Connecticut. Item K, proclamation for Earth Day. Whereas the first Earth Day was celebrated on April 22nd, 1970, with the goal of inspiring environmental awareness and encouraging the conservation and protection and appreciation of our nation's natural resources. And whereas it is the responsibility of each of us to safeguard the environment by recognizing that all human life depends upon the earth and upon one another for our mutual existence, well-being, and development. And whereas the steps we can take to protect and preserve our national environment through education, partnerships, and positive actions should be encouraged in the town of North Branford. And whereas the citizens of the town of North Branford are committed not only to the protection and preservation of our environment, but also to the restoration of our ecosystems and habitat. And whereas the town of North Branford citizens, staff, and elected officials are working closely with the federal, state, and local governments with non-governmental organizations to development and implement regulations and ordinances specifically designed to preserve and improve the town of North Branford's fragile ecosystem and the quality of life therein. And the town of North Branford proudly recognizes all who participate in Earth Day for their dedication in taking a proactive role in shaping the future of our environment and the protecting of the town of North Branford's precious natural resources. Now, therefore, we, the Town Council of the Town of North Branford, Connecticut, do by here proclaim April 26, 2014 as Earth Day in the town of North Branford, and urge all our citizens to be mindful of local and state national laws which protect our environment and to join in the efforts to preserve the beauty of wonder of the land, skies, and water of the earth and all its diversity.
I just have a question on the proclamation for Pray Day. I see in the notes here, it says that they're going to be on the NBHS track at 5:30 at night for about an hour to an hour and a quarter. Did you check just to make sure that there's no games going on, track meets or night games for lacrosse or anything during that time on that day?
I didn't check with the school. I presume that they had checked and were talking with them directly in terms of their schedule.
Can you just check with Scott to make sure?
Okay.
Or the athletic director, someone to make sure that that's not a conflict.
Okay. I think that takes care of all the proclamations. All right.
Do you want to do appropriation transfers and
Yeah,
tax
where's that?
refunds?
That's what I was looking for.
They're N and
Appropriation
O.
transfers, N and O. appropriation transfer, and
I'd like to make a motion that the North Branford Town Council hereby approves the following appropriation transfers as recommended by the town manager and the treasurer finance director.
Second.
moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
The next one is the
The property tax refund.
Tax
refunds,
refund.
yeah. All of the North Branford Town Council hereby approves following property tax
I'll second.
refunds.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Wentworth, seconded by Counselor Fucy. Quick review. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're back up at the top. So we start with item
Back to the top of this one here.
second page, item 9A. Budget deliberations 2014-15.
We're back in budget deliberation.
Okay.
Okay.
Get some of my paper straightened out here.
Okay, I'll start, since I was talking to the town manager today to find some creative ways to fund things without having to increase our tax base. And so what I looked at and had a discussion with him in regards to, and you'll all find at your desk this Town of North Branford, this packet here, distribution of NBIS funds. It's money that has already been bonded and we are paying on. So it would not increase the tax rate at all. So there's approximately $5.3 million in there. Now, the project has not been closed out yet. We are still waiting for the state to let us know what our ineligible costs are, and what that figure will be. And as you can see on this page, there are several projects that we're already using designated funds from that balance from. One is the high school roof project. One is the TDS roof project for next year. We already did the Public Works sanding building. We closed that in, so that project's already complete. The roof replacement on the Public Works building. And then the narrow banding radio project is slated to come out of that money. So out of the $5.4 million, our known needs are approximately 2.7. So it leaves us with 2.6 million in that fund. But we also have to be cognizant of the fact that that is not closed out yet. And so there will probably be ineligible costs from the state in regards to that project. But Anthony feels that it will be far less than this $2.6 million. So in order to come up with some creative ways of supplying some of our departments, our major departments, and I'm talking police, fire, public works, and park rec department, with an equipment reserve account that would provide some money for them. So if something happened, or if they need something, like in the case of park rec, we know that we need to replace equipment in the gym, and they have needs in the gym area. What I'm proposing is that we allocate $25,000 to each one of those departments in an equipment reserve account, and it would be for non-vehicular purchases, and they would have to come to the council for approval. So if the fire department had a tool that is broken and they don't have a replacement for it, and it's gonna cost $5,000 to replace something, this is the type of fund that they could come before us and say, this is what we need. Public Works needs a new mower, and Franny finds one for $10,000 or whatever, and he wants to come before us. He can come and say, listen, here's what I have.
Are you
So-
saying this, so this is not something that's in the budget already, this is something that might come up during the year?
Correct. And we would take it,
Equipment. But not vehicles?
no vehicles. Okay? But the department would have to come before the council. Each one of those departments would have $25,000 in there, designated as an equipment reserve account. Now, for Park Rec Department, they currently have $15,000 in our current budget to start replacing some of the equipment for the fitness center. This $25,000, they could, you know, Pam has several needs up there that are put on hold right now that are not being taken care of through the STEEP grant, but this could be a means to get some of those things done, to add mirrors in the fitness room, to get some weights. You know, it's a way for them to have a little bit more money available to them. And it would, you know, help the taxpayers in towns. It's additional services that we would be able to provide without taxing them, because the money is already bonded. We're already paying for it. We don't have to borrow any more money for it. And it's for capital purchases, something that would be a capital
Could you
purchase.
repeat the departments again that you mentioned?
Fire, police, public works,
Park
park
rec.
rec.
And basically, the money is overages on projects that we've done, or
It's-
estimated
Estimated.
overages?
It's the NBIS project.
Right.
Okay,
It's the bonding on the NBIS project,
got you.
okay? And the other thing,
It's a fair and equitable way.
and the other thing is in the blue budget book, under capital, or capital improvement, there's $71,000 of budget funds. This would have a direct, there's $60,000 for equipment reserve for public works, which is to cover a lease payment on equipment, and there's $11,000 for buyout of the senior vans. That would have a direct effect on the budget, because I'm also proposing that we would take $71,000 out of that NBIS fund, that excess money, and take it out of budget funds. So it would come out of the budget, and we would still cover those obligations that we have in there. So, and the other question I have on our CIP is, there's $35,000 here for a police vehicle, which is under grants for municipal projects coming from the state. Is that known money that we're going to get? Okay, and the LoCIP money, the $25,000 for bleachers for recreation, that is known money also?
Yes.
Okay. So as long as, because those are two items that I wanted to make sure that were in our budget for next year and covered. So I want to make sure that those stay in the budget, and the money is set from the state, that we would be getting that money so those projects can go forward on that. So I would like to make a motion at this time to cut $71,000 from the 2014-15 capital improvements plan. Do I have to state where, or you know?
No, just reference to two projects.
Okay, reference the equipment reserve for public works, and $11,000 for the buyout of the senior vans from recreation.
I'll second the motion.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Counselor Fucy. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Okay, with that being said and the explanation given, now I would like to make a cut to, is Community Center, 4401.
Correct.
Cam's budget, okay. So, in Pam's budget, there was a amount of $3,500 for technical equipment, which was fitness room enhancements. I would like to make a motion to cut that $3,500 from line item 4401-405.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Counselor Fucy. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Okay. I guess since I'm on a roll here, I am now going to go to the police department, 4210. And given the amount of cars that we've gotten for the police department in the last 3 years, we did 4 new cars on a lease 3 years ago. We did 2 new cars, and now we have a budget for a 7th, which will be a new car number 7. So we're kind of back onto our schedule, which they had years ago, of 2 cars one year, 3 cars the next year, to keep the rotation up. So I would like to make a motion to cut $2,500 from equipment maintenance on auto parts and repairs. So it's to make a cut from 4210-310 of $2,500, and it's auto parts and repairs is what I'm looking at.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Counselor Caprio.
Could you, that's because of the money that you have in reserve, is that what you're doing?
That's what
Right.
Well, no, the money in reserve is for capital items. Auto repairs would not classify as a capital item.
Because we're gonna get,
We're
when
getting-
can I talk about the cars?
We get
First-
the capital.
Okay, we'll get the capital.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Counselor Caprio. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
That's all I have.
That's all you have?
That's all I have.
That's it, huh?
Mr. Mayor,
Uh-huh.
I have a question before you.
Sure, can you come up to the microphone, Chief?
Thank you for the motion for $25,000. Will that incorporate my communication center when you say police department? Because it's 2 different accounts? Because I need some upgrades.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does that help you?
Whatever you
Yeah.
think you need.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, and I was gonna actually bring up the dispatch center in a little while with these guys. We've already
Well, the
discussed.
$25,000, I'll be all set there.
Okay, all right,
Thank you.
Chief.
Yep.
So Marie, do you want to
Now it's my turn?
Marie, you can talk about
Marie,
the
go
car.
right
I would like to
ahead.
talk about, I have
Your
a
answer.
handout, talk about the, oh, I didn't keep one of those. And talking with the chief this week, I have learned that we have 2 vehicles that have been recommended to take out of service. And I'm also giving you an updated list of the current mileage for the police vehicles. You'll note that there are, including the ones to be taken out, you have 7 vehicles now that are over 100,000 miles. You have the letter explains to you about the ones that should be taken out of service. And you have a list of the vehicles, current mileage, up to date, correct, Chief? This is up to date
As of
mileage,
today, yeah.
as of today.
So what are you proposing?
What I'm talking with the chief, proposing that we lease 2 vehicles rather than buy 1, that he feels very strongly that we need the 2 vehicles. We have a problem here because you have the unmarked cars that, at this point, have to go out of service. Chief, why don't you kind of help me with this and explain a little bit?
Thank you, Marilyn. We have 4 unmarked cars, 2 of which were looked at by the town garage last week. And in your memo from the lead mechanic, he's deemed that they're unsafe or not reliable. And I'd like to replace those 2 vehicles with 2 vehicles that I currently have in patrol. What we normally do is strip them down, repaint them, and they become unmarked. The two vehicles that we're looking to take out of service, well over 170,000 miles. One needs a new rear end. There's some engine problems with that vehicle, and also the Explorer has body rot on the rocker panels. That's 171,000 miles on it. It's 11 years old, and fumes are starting to come inside the vehicle. So we just found that out after budget deliberations last week. What happened was one of my officers took that car for a week for a training session, and when he came back, he said that, the car was smelling of fumes. And a further inspection, when we sent it down to the town garage, they found all the body rot.
How many unmarked cars do you have?
Not counting mine, we have 4. 2 in the Bureau, 1 for records, 1 for lieutenant. My car, which has 216,000 miles on it, it's currently in the shop right now it's getting a heater core, it's getting a new rear end in it, and the transmission on that is leaking. But I'm not looking for a new car for myself. I'm looking to update the cars for patrol, take 2 cars out of patrol, and put it in the bureaus. My car it's been my own personal car, so I don't have a lot of time on the engine as far as the patrol cars that we put in the bureau. If they have 100,000 miles on them, the rule of thumb is you add another 50% for idling time. We had a near fatal accident on Saturday night, just to block the road from 7 o'clock p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Those cars were running and idling to deter cars off Route 17. So we just found this out, and I'm bringing it. We didn't have a commission meeting last night, but there was a scheduled meeting, and the liaison, Maria, was there, and I brought that up to Marie and 2 of the commissioners. So I don't know if you still want to give me the 25,000.
No, we're still going to give you the 25,000.
Think about it. It's taking good money thrown off the bat. If we want to repair this, I don't
Just
know how
think though,
long they're going to go.
if you did the 2 leases, you could take $15,000 off that.
Thing is, you're putting the
Well, you
payments
can't
up
take
3 years.
$50,000 off of it.
15.
15.
15.
15.
15,000 off of what?
Off of the 35
Well,
that's in the budget.
normally, last year, we leased 2 cars for 20,000.
Right.
In the budget, of course, you have to carry it for 3 years. In the budget, capital, we have 35,000. So what I would suggest is take the 20 and buy 2 cars, lease 2 cars, and give the 15 back to capital.
Well, the 15 in capital is not coming out of any budget
Right.
funds, so it wouldn't affect the budget.
So
or
instead of
our mill rate.
expending 35, expend 20.
Well, that would be just for this year only, but
Right.
what happens is we automatically increase the police budget by 20,000 for next year then, and we have 3 leases outstanding.
Well, Anthony, is one coming due? I think June 30th, we're done with the 4.
Well, I thought that was a 4-year.
I'm not sure.
I thought that was a 4-year, so we're only in payment number 3. Payment number 3 is for next year, in next year's budget. So if we did this now on there, that money that we would use to lease 2, that would take care of the first year, but then next year, if we still had the 4 cars, the 2 cars, and now we'd have 2 more leases, so we have 3 lease payments in there, and we automatically increase the police budget by $20,000. So if we bought 1 car outright now, and next year at this time,
When the lease is up.
when we can see what your budget is at, if you have excess money like you had this year that we allocated for this, we would look at doing a lease next year for 2 vehicles with that money,
No, I understand.
and then the following, we only have 2 lease payments in the budget. at a time.
Well, let's find out if this is the last year. He went to see, he went to check.
I'm not sure, that was so long ago. So, if it is a 4-year lease, the 2 vehicles that are not safe, should we try to make them roadworthy again?
Well, now you're getting one,
Right. So I have to make one roadworthy.
so you definitely are getting one vehicle.
Right.
And that's what was originally asked for, and that's what we're doing.
But this came up after the fact.
Could we possibly take, I mean, if some of these cars need these major repairs like that, that money that's not to replace a vehicle, could some of that money be used to repair one of these older cars if it needed to be, or?
What, the,
The
25.
25. I know we
but
said.
that would be our decision.
Gotcha. But we said not vehicle, but a repair doesn't necessarily mean
Right.
But the
that.
question is, when do we get to the point where we're throwing good money after bad? You know, I mean,
Oh,
some,
you
you know, I mean,
Who knows?
right, I mean,
We need to
Yeah.
get back on a rotation of where we can start paying for things
But-
as
Are we
we
on
go.
I mean,
Rotation
to me
now?
though, I
That's what
mean,
we need
to
to
me,
get
to
back
put a
on
rear
board.
end in a car that's got 200-something thousand
Right,
miles on
right.
it, it's crazy.
But we need to get back into that rotation and put money
It's
everywhere.
4 years, that's what I thought it
Yeah,
was.
they just keep
Rose
passing
was
on.
right again.
I do my homework.
Okay?
So,
Okay,
What's that?
so,
So,
So
are you making a motion?
I would like to make a motion to lease 2 cars in next year's budget. Do I have it?
I'll second.
moved by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Counselor Esposito. Any more discussion? No? Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
No?
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
No.
Counselor Angeloni?
No.
Counselor Caprio?
No.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
No.
But you will get your one new one.
You get one, no.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're to,
Are we still, you moving off budget?
No, we're still on.
so budget. What do you got?
I'd like to make a motion to Department 4681. Anthony, I'm going to need your help. Account 101, restoring back the funds into account 101. I don't know what the amount was. I had 63,448 on
What account?
It's building.
4681, account 101.
14804, well, I'm sorry, 76503 to the full-time account will be an increase.
76,503 to the 101 account. Full-time
102
101.
account will be a reduction of 41,527.
41,527.
And the 120 account would be an add of 13,106.
With a reduction of 41,527 to the 102 account and adding 13,106 to the 120. No.
Are you making the motion? I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I didn't realize it was a
yeah, I made
motion.
the motion.
All right, I'll second the motion.
Moved by Counselor Esposito, seconded by Counselor Diamond.
And just to clarify, this is to reinstate the building official to full-time.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
No.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
No.
Counselor Angeloni?
No.
Counselor Caprio?
No.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
No.
Failed. All right. So what else we have? deliberations.
I'd like to make a motion to cut the $50,000 increase we gave last week to the Board of Ed.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Caprio, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth.
Can I ask a question as to why?
You sound like Joe Fawnin now.
Well, you know, I'm taking his place tonight.
We're trying to keep our mill rate under 30, to be honest with you, and we're really burdening our people. And to be honest with you, I mean, all the years with the BOE, they threatened they weren't going to do all-day kindergarten because we cut their budget. They said a lot of things, and they still went on and did everything they said they were pretty much going to do. And they're giving us back money this year also again. I mean, it's like,
Enrollment's down.
you know, enrollment's down, students are down. Guilford's tax mill rate, like I told you before, is at 23. 5 of 7 of their schools are rated excellent in their CAP testing, okay? Our mill rate's 30. It's gonna be just under 30 if we make this cut. Our schools, not one of them has rated excellent in our CAP testing, okay? If you're gonna move to a town, you're gonna move to a town of a mill rate with 30, or you're gonna move to a town with a mill rate of 23 and 5 schools that are testing excellent in their CAP testing. We're actually driving people out of our town and making it harder and harder for our taxpayers every year by doing things like this. If we don't start keeping our budgets under control, okay, who's going to want to move here? Who's going to want to raise their kids here? As it is, our state is losing most of our college children to all the other states because they cannot afford to live here. I've stated this many times, it's a fact, okay? We need to do something to curb our tax increases.
What I find troubling, though, is I think that the only way you can make that kind of cut is to cut staff. You're going to cut teachers.
We probably have more staff than we had when I went to school here, and we had well over 200 children per class when I was in school here. There was about 225 kids in my graduating class.
Just so we understand it, so basically, there's a $50,000 reduction in the $670,000
Right.
increase.
That we gave them, right. In other words,
All right.
$620,000 increase instead of $670,000
So it's a
increase.
620 instead of 670 increase. in the
Correct.
budget.
I mean, it's not like we're,
If your motion passes.
right, exactly.
Got it, okay. That answers my question.
And then with excess cost grants and whatnot.
Right.
Grants,
Everybody knows the story. I mean, obviously.
Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
No.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Okay,
29.92.
What are we at?
29.92.
29, boy, by the skin of our teeth, huh?
That's,
with the cuts,
that would be an increase over what we have now of.
0.82.
0.82, almost a full mil.
Almost a full mil.
At the last budget workshop, we talked about debt service and borrowing the money from debt service to do some capital projects now, which has no impact on the budget. But I just want to have some clarification from Anthony on that when he. Will we have some more definitive information as to how that exactly will work and what that, I know it doesn't impact this budget, but do you have any information? And it can be, because it's not impacting the budget, I know it can be done at a later, at a later council meeting.
Right.
But my thinking is that the 3 items that we approved for education, we still do those 3, but instead of doing it out of, and paying for taking it out of the debt money, is taking it from the NBIS funding.
You could take all 862 out, or 826, I remember, was out of that pot of money. I mean, I think that's sufficient enough, 826, the whole 826 out of that money for the time being, and eliminate the whole bonding or borrowing altogether. I mean, interest rates are cheap, but you have cash in your pocket now, you can utilize a piece of that. I've been hesitant to, I mean, the numbers are out there, everybody knows the numbers are large, but realize also that in the first two items, the NVHS roof and the TVES roof, the portion I have in that far right column is the town's share.
Right.
But we need the money to pay the bills in the first place. We need the full 1.7 on both of those. So don't look like we have the 2.6 immediately. That's a number that comes in after all the reimbursements are received.
Right.
So assuming all the stars are aligned, that the 10% ineligible is a good number, our reimbursement rate doesn't change.
Well, that's why I wouldn't want to do the whole 800 and something against that.
Well, we could always bond whatever we have to.
Well, no, we don't have to bond because the money is
Right.
there.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I think the CIP we typically approve in August, September anyway, and I would certainly hope that the people at the state would have our numbers resolved by then. And we would get
I mean, we
some-
can wait until then
Yeah.
on all of these projects
Right, I think that's probably a prudent move.
to wait, but I think we need more information as to what makes the most sense. Do we borrow from the debt and pay the interest rate,
Right.
or can
Do
we
it
take
both.
from the money that's already bonded?
Right.
And since we're waiting to close out that project, and some of these projects, you know, they've been on the books, or they're ones that just came out, a couple more months is not gonna make a difference.
What about the 46,000 for the animal control? That's in next year's budget, right? It's not.
Well, I thought it was this year.
The animal control, that wasn't in last year's budget, right?
Right, because I passed the memo out to you guys. What happened was that was approved in June.
Correct.
So the budget had already been adopted for 13-14, predicated on the old agreement, which was the $60,000 number. So then, when the council approved the new, or the changes to that agreement in June, it was already too late for the 13-14 year.
So
That's
the-
why we're 46, or the difference this year being under, because the budget was predicated on the old mentality, now we have the new agreement, which changes the number for the current year.
Okay, so for 13-14, we don't have to pay that 45.
Oh, we don't, we have to pay the 90,
We have to
whatever
pay
the number is
the
for
100
the,
It was 130 or whatever?
No, it was
108
108, right?
108.
no.
for this year,
Yeah.
for the new number. The old number is 98.
98,000 we owe the town of Branford for the current year. The budget was 62, that's predicated on the old agreement, because the agreement was changed after the budget was passed,
So why don't we owe the 62 if it was changed after we passed our budget
because it was done in June, effective this fiscal.
for July 1st?
Correct. After our budget process had concluded, but in time for us to start the new fiscal year.
Ah, okay. All right.
Now, Fran, I want to ask a couple of questions, not to put you on the spot, but just to educate. This year with all the storms, or the event that we had, the salt, very expensive. Our budget was over. Is it feasible to go back to sand and salt mixture? Is that more costly as far as cleanup afterwards, or,
Well, to be honest with you, if you really look at the numbers through the years, it probably is.
it probably doesn't.
It's $50,000 more, if, just by budgeted numbers. And the amount of savings that you get from using the salt, between the sand, the shorter times being out on overtime, the fuel, the sweeping goes from 4 months to 1 month. That means you're using, instead of 8 brooms, you're only using 2 rear brooms. Fuel for that, instead of using 4 trucks, you're only using 2 trucks, which is only 2 guys. The list just goes on. Catch basin cleaning, all the pipes are cleaning. Disposing of all the sand, you have to pay for that.
My
So
dog
30
loves
to
running on the road.
$40,000 that cost us, just getting rid of the sand after pickup, you're gonna probably spend more than that.
They consider it.
You gotta truck it away.
Right.
All you're doing, you know, all you're doing is taking the salt out of the sand.
Right.
The amount of salt you're putting on is almost exactly the same as if it was in the sand.
Are any of the other towns doing it that way, Fran? Because I notice our roads seem to be in a lot better,
Just assault?
Yeah.
North Havens, there's a whole bunch of. I don't know.
Madison, a lot
A lot
of
of
always
people turn into it.
Because I noticed compared to like even the state roads, our roads seem to be,
Better.
yeah. I was just wondering why everybody isn't doing it, if it, you know?
Most are
Because
going that way.
nobody's sat down and looked at the numbers, they
Got
don't
ya.
get it.
Yeah.
You know, Branford tried a little bit this year, it looks like it's costing you more,
But it's not.
but at the end of the day, you're saving labor, time,
Yeah.
fuel. We're done with storms 4 hours before any town around us. Guilford is always out at least 4 hours longer than we are, every storm, consistently. You know, so it's, I mean, they're saving, I mean,
Okay.
our overtime, and we've done, and the reason why this year is worse than last year, I said it before,
Oh, we had
6
bad weather.
years in a row, we've gotten FEMA money
Right.
for storms.
Right,
Two
we
of
didn't.
them were for hurricanes, but the other ones were all snow events. So that took the edge off of the thing. This year, we got no FEMA money.
Right.
So
And we had a bad winter.
And we had, yeah,
Yeah.
probably worse than last year, other than the blizzard, but we had 29 events. I mean, we haven't even hit 200 hours overtime for the year. We used to be almost 300 hours overtime. So there are a lot more benefits. Just the streams being cleaned, the pipes being cleaned out now. We do have still the same areas that local flooding like on Pawtucket, but that has nothing to do with.
Right.
But we've had major problems in the years past where, you know, we're taking feet and feet of sand out of structures, it's incredible. And now it's a hazardous material, so you can't, we don't have a landfill to put it in,
Mm.
so you have to dispose of it.
Right.
So the costs are huge.
What's the effect on the vehicles as far as the bodies?
It all, you know, that's a whole big thing, Ben. If your car is older, you're gonna see rot. But our stuff that we use is a sugar-based material. It's organic. Salt is not, it's organic, but it still rusts. So different than what the state's going through. They're using a bunch of different, they're using,
Chemicals, aren't they?
some chemicals, they're using salt brine, which is what you see the stripes on the turnpike, which is straight salt. The only thing that I'm gonna do probably different next year is buy some more street salt. We buy all our salt treated with, it's a whole bunch of stuff, it's more sugar than anything. But for like, let's say if tonight we got some, you could use straight salt and it would do the job. The other stuff works at much lower temperatures. We just don't have different facilities to put it in, so we always get the stuff that we
Right.
use in the middle.
Right.
So it's. it all
I was
depends
just-
on-
I was just
No,
curious,
it is.
that's
I mean,
all.
you know, all the sand, and there's no good sand around anymore. All the good sand is gone.
Yeah.
We went through a period of time where we're buying chip from Tilcon, mixing it in the sand. Anything that's good sand is septic stuff, and people don't wanna sell it,
Mm.
because it's hard to get now.
Right.
So, there's a lot more benefits than not, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot more deer around too. A lot more deer around town now too.
You're lucky.
Alright, what else we got? Alright, so. Um, um, one other song. Let's see, slash security gate. I guess we could do G, installation of
Well,
security gate.
do we,
Are we gonna go on budget
since,
stuff?
are we done with the budget?
Are we done with the budget? Does anybody have any other
Additions,
additions,
subtractions?
subtractions? I don't know about the discussion, it's human resource.
Let's do that at a later date.
Yeah, I mean, let's
Let's do
finalize
that.
the budget
Right,
to take the actions that we need.
right.
Okay, yeah, we could do that.
All right, so we can go to a ratification of town council recommended budget.
So stand by while we make a new sheet up. with
All
the
right.
numbers.
Okay.
Fun for
So
the-
do you want us to do something else while you do
Yeah,
that?
please.
Okay.
So,
So,
but you know what, go to G, installation of the
Yeah.
gate for Kurt.
Yeah.
Kurt, installation of security gate, Reed's Gap Road, please. Take your time.
Okay, good evening. Briefly, back in December, we brought this item to the town council. Basically, the Regional Water Authority was requesting permission to install a gate on the unimproved section of Reeds Gap Road, pretty much at the Guilford Town line. Reeds Gap Road there is basically, essentially a woods road, but there's off-roaders sometimes will go down there. People would try to dump things on the Regional Water Authority property. So they came in requesting permission to install a gate, similar to what the Wallingford Water Authority did on Lanes Pond Road, to alleviate the same type of problem. Basically, in December, I think there was general concurrence that it was an okay idea. We had heard back from Public Works, Police, and Fire, and basically they wanted to make sure they had keys to the locks that were installed on there. And in addition, the one other item that was outstanding was to make sure the last property in North Branford that could potentially access that property was notified, and there's a copy of a letter in there from the property owner that they have no issues as long as they have a key to it. It's pretty much a wood lot for them.
So they're okay with it?
They're okay with it, yep. That's been reached out. And the other condition was basically that a license agreement was prepared by the town attorneys, or approved by the town attorney's office authorizing the installation of the gate. There is a copy of the license agreement with a Exhibit A showing the locations. John has looked at the agreement and he's basically signed off saying it's okay for its intended purposes. So there's, at this point, there's a suggested motion authorizing the installation of the gate and that authorizing also the town manager to enter into the agreement with the Water Authority.
John, you have reviewed this?
Yes, I have, sir.
All good?
Yes. My letter is in the packet there.
I saw that. Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to move the motion as stated.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Okay.
This goes in
Yes, we'll go to, yeah, H. Gov deals, fire apparatus auction. I believe there was a fire call, and so the chief and everybody ran out.
Brush fire.
Yeah. Structure fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a structure fire.
Soul.
Joe, do you know what the chief was gonna bring up on this, or?
I really don't. I know that there was, GovDeal came and talked to Michelle, I believe. They
Initially, and then.
initially came, and they said they were gonna get $25,000 for that rescue truck that we were gonna turn over to the regional. And then they came and looked at the truck, and then they said, oh, I don't think it was an 88 instead of 98. So they said they didn't know if we could get $4,000 or $5,000 for the truck. Okay? So now they want you to sign a contract with them to sell the truck, which is gonna cost you money. So for that little amount of money, personally, I wouldn't sign the contract, but I don't know what the chief had in mind.
Well, my question is, by just giving it to him, is there any liability to the town, John, and just even donating the
No,
truck?
originally it said 2,500.
I mean, we would have to write something up to hold us
But now
harmless.
it's,
Exactly.
now it's double that.
Right.
No, it was 25,000, they said originally to her.
10 to 15,
Well,
based on
Okay.
the information, when he came and he looked at the truck, based on other auctions, he thought somewhere between 5 to 5,500 you could get for the truck at auction. There is no cost to the town. The fee from deals goes to the buyer. They pay, I believe it was, I didn't bring mine with, it was like 12%. So if you're for $100, then the buyer would pay $112. So there's no cost to the town.
Okay, so according to this memo, it looks like we could get 5 to 5,500 at auction, at no cost to us for it, if we sold it, rather than just, if it went to auction, rather than just give it away.
Right.
So I don't know why we wouldn't do that, if there's no cost to us.
Right. Yeah, as long as we're held harmless. I mean, yeah. I don't have a problem with that.
Wasn't there something about contributing to a regional thing or something with that, or no?
Yes, there was.
And we had never contributed anything, right?
That's correct.
Joe,
Yeah,
is
so
it,
I kinda-
is this something time sensitive, or can we carry this?
You can carry it.
Why don't we carry this over
the next meeting.
to the next
And then the
meeting?
chief will
when
have
the
more
chief-
information.
Exactly.
That's fine.
Mike, we'll carry that over to our next meeting.
Yeah,
when the chief
that's
is here.
fine. I mean, it was only really brought to you just so that you could have an idea of
Right.
actually knowing what the value is. And if you wanted to, theoretically, you could, go to auction and then still pass along a donation to the organization versus the vehicle. But you can decide that at the next meeting. We'll carry it over.
So you have two motions, Mr. Mayor. The first one is the numbers,
Yep.
the two-page motion to finalize the budget numbers and send to referendum. The second motion is the actual budget referendum question that you approve.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion, be it hereby resolved that the North Branford Town Council hereby adopts the proposed operating budget for the 2014-15 fiscal year as amended, and recommends the same to the budget referendum at the attached appropriation levels, and be it hereby further resolved that the Treasurer Finance Director is authorized to make any mathematical adjustments that may be required to balance the budget. And the numbers that are provided are town government operations, $14,056,963. Board of Education, $30,087,737. Capital improvements, 0. Debt service, $5,474,708, for total appropriations of $49,619,408. Revenues, non-tax revenue, $3,574,558. State grants for education, $8,391,812. Fund balance applied, $350,000. Fund balance for capital appropriation, 0. Fund balance for OPEB appropriation, $356,000. The local elderly tax credit is $100,000. So the amount to be raised by taxes, assuming a 98.5% collection rate, is $37,047,039 for total revenues at $49,619,408. So right now it's balanced.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Counselor Caprio. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion, be it hereby resolved that the North Branford Town Council approves the following question for the May 13th, 2014 annual budget referendum. Shall the Town Council recommended budget of $49,619,408, which will require a mill rate of 29.92 mills, be adopted?
I'll second it.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Counselor Fucy. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Esposito?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
And table item B, or just carry it to the next meeting?
Yeah, carry this to the next meeting, item B. Item E, approval advisory budget referendum questions.
We did C through H.
And I have a couple of questions I can ask Christine, or would like to, if anyone else has.
What are we on I?
Yeah, reval, report by Christine Barton. Chris, can you come up for a second? Good evening.
Hi.
I just had a couple of one question, actually. You know, in town, let's say we have a large business, and they have another location in another town, and they're playing a shell game. You know, they're moving their equipment maybe to this town, and then they tell that town, oh, we're paying North Branford, and they tell we're paying this town. How do we go after that, or how do we combat that?
So you're actually talking about personal property.
Personal property, correct.
A lot of times we do it through an audit process. There are companies that do move equipment or property back and forth from town to town. It's not uncommon. The town,
Is it done to get out of paying, to try to get out of paying taxes, or is there a way of chasing that, or?
well, I can't really say what the reason is. A lot of times if equipment is being used in another town, that's why it winds up being moved around. It's difficult to keep locating it unless you keep tracking it. You could take photos, follow it around. A lot of times we check with other towns. If it's, say, a company that has multiple locations, and we'll find out if they're declaring in that town as well as in our own. Sometimes they're not declaring in another town, or they are and not here. So it's difficult to track that. A lot of times the towns will audit accounts. There is a 3-month rule, whatever town, if there is equipment that moves from town to town, whatever town it's located in closest to October 1st is the town they're supposed to declare the equipment in. So a lot of times you can take photos or frequent the property right at 10/1 and see what's there.
So has that been done in our town?
In this town, not recently.
So then there's no way of knowing if that company would be paying taxes to any town? I mean, so you haven't
Well,
checked
it's
with another
hard.
town to see if they, because they have to file.
Well, I'm
on-
always checking with other towns to find out if, we're always finding property that's located in this town, but they say they're declaring in another town, and we check back and forth to find out where they are actually declaring their property. Because you can't declare in more than one town in the
Correct.
state of Connecticut, obviously, so we do this all the time with other assessors' offices to review and double-check to find out where they're being located, but it's a lot of times difficult to narrow it down to a particular piece of equipment. It's hard to keep chasing it around. It could be anywhere
Especially
in the
if they have
state or even
multiple.
out of state.
Right, and they may have multiple equipment.
Right, I mean, the best
And-
you can do is check with their federal filing.
And it would also
And it should be
entail-
under an itemized, an asset list.
Right.
Sometimes they don't even complete an
I
asset
mean, it
list.
also almost entail auditing their books.
That's right.
And almost photographs of the equipment, license plate, the whole 9 yards. I mean, it's pretty extensive.
It is extensive, and depending on the size of the company, extremely time-consuming.
Right.
Some towns
But it's
hire
worth it.
staff to
That
do
might be
just
something.
that.
But it's well worth it.
Oh, sure it is.
Well, that's what you decided the last meeting, that was your discussion. You added 5,000 to
Right.
do that.
Right.
And it's, you know, and it's well worth it.
Right.
Is that something that a private company would get involved to do?
Right, I think
Yeah.
so. I mean, it's
That's
beyond,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm. Yep.
it can be done. And
I think it's something we need to maybe talk about.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, council, you know, explain, you know, you deliberated on it. It's an issue of fairness, right? I mean, you want to make sure that people are declaring and putting accurate numbers down.
Right.
Yeah, it's about equality, everyone,
Well,
paying their
let's
fair
just say we
share.
have a contractor that's in town, and they have all their equipment there, and they're paying all of their taxes on all their equipment. We have another contractor that maybe has multiple locations with a lot of equipment that's moving it around. It's not really fair from one to the other, plus not to mention the tax money that we're not getting, that we should be getting. So I think it's money well spent to maybe chase,
Right.
this.
I concur. Anybody else have any further questions?
No.
Ben, you got any further questions?
I'm good.
Further questions? Christine, thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
So we'll, just to clarify, I mean, the issue was laid out that we're going to have Chris back to talk about the reval and proceeding with the reval.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think they're clear. I think there's a consensus that we've,
Yeah, we're gonna come back at another date and talk about the revow, yes.
okay, you want at the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that an executive session thing? Is that
No,
something
that's not
we-
executive
that
session.
open?
It's open. Yeah.
No, I was just, the issue was we had the contract ready to award, but there was a question of whether or not there was a state statute that allowed us to defer, the council to make a decision to defer.
Right.
Since then, that Chris has done the research to say that doesn't apply to the grand list in question that we're looking at, doesn't apply for North Branford. So the recommendation is to move forward with awarding that bid and the reval, separate from any discussion you have on audit or down the road on audits.
So we gotta approve the reval.
So it's something we could do right now, is what you're
Yeah,
saying?
that's what we need to
Yeah.
do.
Do
Okay.
you want some clarification on it? Do you need any clarification, or?
No, we
No.
can't put it off though, right?
Right, there was some legislation that they were trying to pass, but it does not
Right.
allow you to defer or postpone a 2015 revaluation. It's only for the year 2013.
So we have to award the bid.
Right, or if you choose not to have a reval, then you lose a lot of the state grants.
Right.
All right. I mean, there's legislation up there now on new construction, and hopefully
Yes.
that, I mean, I don't know. That's gonna be interesting.
That's not a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing.
No.
All right, so what, you need a motion from us? Or is there a motion?
I think it was just, we'll proceed.
Clarification, I
It was
guess.
just, I don't think the motion needed because it's already been, it's been through the process, been out. It's just, you're holding the award pending any decision from the council.
All right,
to
so I think
delay.
everyone's in favor to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can't delay it.
Right.
We have no choice.
Right, okay,
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what else we have?
We
Item
have the,
I, proposed tax collection policy draft,
that's L.
or L. I need new glasses, I think.
Do we want to,
I kind of wanted to put that up too.
yeah, do we want to wait until the
So
next
what-
meeting so that we can have our discussion on other issues?
Yeah.
And
I
then,
think we should
Yeah,
roll that into
Yeah.
the other thing, right?
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so Michael, we're gonna put L into our next agenda as well.
Okay.
And then, M, financial report,
that's Anthony.
unremarkable.
Well, it's actually pretty interesting. because-
Oh, we went from
Remarkable
unremarkable to
to
pretty
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, because if you look at the top line where the tax collection currents, again, the trend is maintaining where we're ahead of last year's pace. Total revenues were a little bit under, but nothing to get concerned about. Down to the bottom of the page, you look at the public works, again, that's the big winner this year. 95% expended compared to 82% last year. But jump to the bottom of the page. It's an interesting dynamic where we're actually below last year's percentage. So we were concerned about, and Michael's done a fantastic job. Every department is getting his blessing to spend every dollar, and it's working. It's actually working. So you see that on a percentage basis, we're actually behind last year's percentage. So the measures that the manager has put into place have truly worked, and hopefully will bring us back, if that continues the rest of the year, to be at least break even, or where it ends up, I'm not quite sure, but I think it's remarkable to note that we were significantly behind at the end of last month, and maybe it's an anomaly, I'm not sure, but we're back on track. Bottom line expenditure, which is pretty noteworthy.
I know I probably asked this before, but where do all the back taxes from years ago that were owed, that were paid, where do they go? General fund?
Yeah, second line down, property taxes delinquent.
Okay. And that is ahead?
Well, that's actually a negative. Remember a few months back we brought it up because of the Evergreen Woods settlement.
Right.
Had to
Right.
give back money from the prior year, so
Right.
it shows that as a negative number, which is kind of an odd thing to show in a revenue account. But that's a function of the fact that we had to give money back to Evergreen Woods,
Okay.
or shoreline care, whatever you say. Also in that same vein, when you look down on the fourth line, down delinquent charges, that's interest that people pay on delinquent taxes.
Right.
So that's that other line. That's what it
It's under state law or whatever too, right, or something?
Well, they were talking about changing that to make it out of 18 down to a lower number, and also changing it to make it on a per day basis. Right now, it's month by month. You pay in, when you pay April 1st or April 30th, the same interest amount. And it's a reasonable argument. That's pretty unfair, quite honestly. So there was some talk to change that. The problem is it becomes a bookkeeping nightmare. The software has to change every day versus changing once a month. I mean, it's not sophisticated enough to do that. So, but overall, things are looking well.
Motion to adjourn.
Well, no, there's citizen statement. You got number 10. We're done with 9.
Citizen statements, with correspondence, petitions. Having none.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Wait,
Motion to
wait,
go
I got a
into
late one.
executive session.
Wait, I got a late one.
Sure, sure.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I think I know some people in the room, many I don't, so let me introduce myself and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm a citizen of this great town. I've been so for about 16 years. My name is Judith Decene. I am on Tutucket Road, and I have a family with me there, and I love this town. I'm not a native, but over the last several years, I've been treated like one. I appreciate that. My position, my day job, is a prosecuting attorney for the state of Connecticut, which is exactly why you've never seen me here. It's my job to stay out of politics. But I'm allowed to speak on matters of personal concern, and this is one that I'm coming forward on because this affects me as a citizen, and I have personal experience with the issue. I speak in favor of reconsideration by the council on cutting the hours of your building official. I am a prosecutor whose job for the state is handling safety code violations, and what that means is when someone has a property where a building is being built or converted, or a incident has occurred and construction has been affected or is going to be considered even, the building official's job is to threshold the safety of the building that is in consideration. If a building official is involved, you can be assured that the state standards for safety for the people who will be coming into that building through its life will be as good as we know how to make it. Without a full-time building official, a town cannot function in this capacity adequately, a town of this size at least. I work as a state supervisor of housing matters, which includes doing this work for all the great towns of our great state, not just for this one, although I am a bit partial to this one. I have therefore seen the difference in the state of who has full, who has part-time, and I can tell you that the only ones in the state that have a part-time building official are way up in the boondocks, and they have more cows than we do. This is not the position for a growing community to do. This is a busy and important safety position. This is one that will safeguard people that don't ever think about their safety when they walk into a building now. They walk in, they walk out, they don't have an incident. That's due, of course, also to the work of the fine fire marshal community as well, because both of them work jointly to make sure our buildings are constructed properly. Branford has, I think, 2 full-time and maybe also part-time officials in the building department. Guilford, I think, has at least 2 full-time. I may be incorrect, at least 1.5. New Haven has a staff of 15, but we could expect that, and they're down on staff. I can keep going, but North Haven, all the towns, Wallingford, they all have a group of building officials. With all due respect, you've already cut us down to just 1 in the past, not necessarily this council. But if you want this community to grow, it needs to grow safely. If you want to monitor that, you do that through your safety officials. That's what they're here for. And we need that as a community desperately. If the town has incidents, that's beyond the regular building, that's beyond the regular alterations our community members want to make. One significant incident of public safety, like a building burn or a condemnation that needs to be done, and I've been involved with several in this town alone, can involve days and weeks of times of the one official that you have. And out the door will be a line of developers and residents who wish to do legal construction who can't get the attention of the official to review a plan or review a permit. So we have 2 very important things. We have safety and we have the development of our community. And they're both in need of a good official reviewing these things so that we make sure not only that they're safe, but that we're compliant with the law, which we have to be. So I will ask you to think again, carefully, that you're going to cut the hours of the person who is the threshold to our safety. Because no building goes on in this town, or should go on in this town, without the approval of this official. And to cut his job in half means you've cut your safety in half. And I recommend that that is very, very short-sighted, and I ask you to reconsider. Based on my experience, it is a very, very important reconsideration. And I thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cliff Potter, 1251 Middletown Avenue, discouraged citizen. Been there, done that. Part-time building officials don't work. We had one. He worked afternoons at Sears. Trying to be a law-abiding citizen, I put a pool in my house and a wood-burning stove. Do you know how long that took and how it held up my contractor? Because that gentleman was only available part-time. We could not coordinate for weeks on end. To keep my insurance company happy, they said, don't proceed until you get a building permit. Get a building permit, you come down, oh, he's not here. Come back in the afternoon, oh, he's at work. It doesn't work. Now, you want to be liable for any insurance claims that don't get properly looked at, or a building that gets remodeled? Or how about the building that doesn't even go for a permit because he knows nobody's going to catch him? So he does his own wiring, he does his own septic, and he does his own propane, and the house has an issue. Are you going to pick up the liability for that? Lost revenues, the price of permits. It would almost pay for his other half of the day if the permits are being pulled properly and the people are being charged properly. Once the word's on the street, oh, don't worry, Tom's too damn busy to get to your house, watch what happens. I really think, I wasn't going to say much because you cut the Board of Ed again. You keep playing that game back and forth, and you claim you don't know where the money's going, but 2 key people aren't here tonight. Funny thing about that. So I say, just, rethink at least the building inspector for the integrity of the town. I don't know what else to call it. The economy's growing back slow. Hopefully building will pick up. And how much of that do you want to be illegal building? Again, you have your reasons. I don't know what they are. This is the agenda I go by. I don't know what agenda you people go by. Thank you.
Thank you, Cliff. Any further? Any further comment? Motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn to executive session to discuss pending claims and litigation. And the town council and the town attorney and the town manager.
We don't have any. I don't think we even need executive session. I know, we were gonna talk to Anthony McCann, right?
Yeah, but I think we should talk about how
Yeah.
Was there a second? Are we going to executive session?
Yeah, it was moved by Deputy Mayor Wentworth, seconded by Council Angeloni. Somebody.
Yeah.
It's executive session. Yeah, with Ken and Anthony.
But
Find out about
you have
the
to invite,
foreclosure.
you have to include those.
And the town attorney,
Anthony Esposito.
Anthony Esposito, Ken Delphine.
Who's this guy over here?
Shut these off.